Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really focusing in, taking a close look at one specific, really interesting person, Frank Lin.
Yeah, and we've got some great material to work with, excerpts from his website talking about running, cycling, quite a bit of travel.
Transit cards too, which is unique, selfies, blog posts on things like chess and writing, even some stats.
So the mission, really, is to piece together this picture, right? Explore the different sides of Frank Lin and his, well, very positive interests. See what makes him tick.
Exactly. It feels like a chance to get a really rounded view of someone who's just deeply engaged with the world around him. So let's jump in.
Okay. Well, thinking about his background, he started out in New York.
Right.
And apparently had early interests in things like history and also started running a bit just after school stuff.
So those seeds of curiosity and activity were planted early, it seems. Then he moves out west to the Bay Area for university.
Yeah, UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
And his studies there are pretty telling: mathematics, computer science, and linguistics.
Wow, that's quite a mix.
It really points to a very curious and maybe analytical mind. And he wasn't just hitting the books. Apparently, he was going to interesting talks, sporting events.
Soaking it all in.
Exactly. Really engaging with the whole university environment.
Okay, so after Berkeley, there were brief stints in Chicago and back in the Bay Area, but eventually he circled back to New York.
Which is where he is now. So you see this pattern emerging, kind of exploring different places, different fields of study.
It feels like a natural lead-in to his passion for travel.
It really does. That early interest in history probably just grew into wanting to see the world, experience different cultures firsthand.
And the scale of his travel is, frankly, amazing. 42 countries and 34 U.S. states. That's a lot.
It really is. And it's not just ticking boxes. You know, he explicitly talks about using travel, specifically history, language, geography, as these powerful lenses for viewing our world.
So there's a purpose behind it. It's about understanding, not just sightseeing.
Precisely. He's trying to learn from the places he visits, and he prefers trains and planes, which, given the ground he covers, makes sense.
He even documents some of it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it gives you a bit of a visual taste of his adventures.
And the list of places. I mean, China, Macau, Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan.
Then Portugal, Spain, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Austria, Germany.
Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay.
Taiwan, Canada, Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, the UK.
Monaco, France, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Singapore, Oman, UAE.
Italy, Czechia, Slovenia, Croatia, Hungary, Slovakia, Wales, Scotland, England, Luxembourg, Washington State, Oregon. It's just, wow.
It really underscores a commitment to experiencing a huge range of cultures. Very cool.
Definitely.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Another huge passion for him is running.
Yes, and this seems like something that evolved over time. Casual start in high school, break in college.
Right.
But then he really picked it up seriously back in NYC around 2021. And his progress since then is, well, pretty remarkable.
You can really see it in his marathon times. He started with Paris in 2022, did a 3:22:51.
Okay.
Then New York in 2023 was 3:17:40.
Getting faster.
Definitely. Then a big jump in Geneva in 2024, 2:53:24.
Wow, that's the sub-3. That's a major achievement.
Huge. And he didn't stop there. Later in 2024, back in New York, he ran a 2:49:05.
Incredible improvement curve. That really shows dedication.
It absolutely does. And he keeps his race bibs as mementos, which I think is fantastic.
Little trophies of the effort.
Exactly. He mentions his favorites are the 2023 NYC Marathon bib, that Geneva one for the sub-3 breakthrough, obviously,
Understandable.
and his 2024 Brooklyn Track Club Mile Time Trial bib, where he broke 5 minutes for the first time.
Another big milestone. So he's tackling different distances, too.
Yeah, the bib collection shows that. Marathons, obviously, but also half marathons like the NYC Run Central Park or Princeton.
Okay.
Road races like the Newcastle 10K, the Fifth Avenue Mile. Even track races, like something called Night at the Races.
So he's really exploring the sport, different types of races, different challenges. It's not just about the marathon distance.
Right. And his training reflects that seriousness. He's got a structure.
What does that look like?
Typically 4 easy days, 1 speed workout, 1 long run, and 1 rest day per week.
That's a solid, balanced structure. How much mileage?
Usually between 40 and 60 miles a week. So, 5 to 7 hours of running.
That's a significant commitment time-wise.
For sure. And he seems to understand the purpose behind the different runs. Easy for recovery, long for endurance, speed work for getting faster.
He's clearly thought about it or learned a lot. It's not just mindless jogging.
No, definitely not. And he gets the importance of recovery, too, the little things he calls them.
Like what?
Foam rolling, getting enough protein after runs, sleep, staying hydrated, the essentials.
Crucial, especially at that volume and intensity.
He's also clued into running nutrition trends, mentioning the high-carb fueling strategies that are popular now.
Right, optimizing energy stores for performance shows he's keeping up with the science of the sport.
And gear-wise, any specifics?
Seems like he's a Nike guy, prefers the Pegasus for daily, runs a real workhorse shoe for many, and the Vaporfly 3s for racing, which are, known for being fast.
Makes sense. Have different tools for different jobs.
Exactly. And he's tapped into the local scene, too, checked out some running clubs in NYC.
Good for community.
Yeah.
And he uses Strava.
Yeah. Says it's a motivator, but also a place to learn from what other runners are doing.
He's smart. Soaking up knowledge wherever he can.
Seems to be a theme. He likes both the big local NYC races and traveling for destination races.
Best of both worlds.
And he's even conscious of running surfaces in the city, prefers softer paths when he can find them, listens to running podcasts, watches YouTube channels.
Just fully immersed.
Absolutely, a deep, passionate engagement with running.
Okay, so alongside running, there's cycling.
Yes. But interestingly, he seems to approach it differently. More leisure, less performance-driven than his running.
Huh. That is interesting. A contrast.
Right. It shows he can appreciate different activities for different reasons. Running for the challenge, maybe cycling more for the experience, the journey.
When did he get into cycling more seriously?
Started around 2019, picked up more in 2020, and did his first century ride over 100 miles in summer 2022.
That's still a serious undertaking, even leisurely.
Oh, absolutely. Requires real endurance. He's done 3 centuries total now. July 2022, July 2023, and another longer one, 108 miles in June 2024.
Wow. And just like with his running, he combines cycling with travel.
He does. He mentioned some amazing rides he's done abroad. Cycling through Liechtenstein.
Tiny country, big ride.
Huh, maybe. Also along the Austria-Germany border near Bregenz and Lindau in Montevideo, Uruguay.
Yeah.
Around Lake Tanuki in Japan. From Copenhagen up to Helsingør in Denmark.
Wow.
Leiden to Amsterdam and back in the Netherlands. Rides between Zarg and Zurich in Switzerland. And around Lake Zurich, too.
That's just an incredible way to see those places. Slower pace, more immersive.
Totally. Fits right in with his interest in geography and just experiencing places directly.
So beyond the physical stuff, he has these interesting collecting habits. We mentioned the running bibs.
And the transit cards, which I find really unique.
Me too. What's his thinking behind that?
He sees them as compact and iconic pieces of memorabilia, like little symbols of the cities.
That's a cool way to put it.
Yeah, and he appreciates being in this specific era, sort of between old school tokens and everything being on your phone. There's a tangible aspect he likes.
A physical reminder. Does he have favorites?
He mentions a few. From Asia, the Tokyo Suica card, especially a specific Rinkai version.
Okay.
From Europe, the London Oyster card, particularly the Elizabeth Line one. And from North America, the blue Seattle or RCA card.
It's fascinating how everyday items can become these treasured links to memories and places.
It really is a very personal and thoughtful collection.
Now, shifting again, he also had a serious chess phase.
Yeah, apparently quite intense for a while. His peak online ratings were pretty high, suggesting, real dedication and skill.
Did he talk about his approach?
He did. He focused on a specific, consistent set of openings for both white and black, especially for speed chess, like bullet.
Why that strategy?
His reasoning was about pattern recognition. For super fast games, better to know a few openings, really, really deeply understand the typical positions and plans, rather than having a shallow knowledge of many openings.
Oh, depth over breadth? Makes sense for speed.
Exactly. And he talks about learning principles over just memorizing moves, which is a classic chess lesson, really.
Did he take other lessons from chess?
Yeah, things like pattern recognition generally, understanding fundamentals, but also, interestingly, the importance of choosing where to invest your energy. He eventually shifted focus from chess to more active things like running.
That's self-awareness again, knowing when to pivot.
Right, and looking forward, he wants to write more in 2025.
Oh, what's the motivation there?
A few things. Organizing his own thoughts, creating reference points for himself. He compares it to pointers in programming, kind of an interesting analogy.
Okay.
And also wanting to contribute more long-form content in an age that's very focused on short stuff.
That's a great goal, pushing against the tide a bit.
Yeah, and he sees his personal website as his own corner of the internet, inspired by others who have similar spaces online.
Nice. And then there's the selfie collection.
Huh, yes. Which is just a fun, personal way he documents meeting people who inspire him.
Who's in the collection? Anyone notable?
Oh, yeah, quite a range. Sports figures like Djokovic and Alcaraz.
Tennis stars?
Right, running stars like Galen Rupp, Rai Benjamin. Chess people like Gotham Chess. Even folks from tech and academia. It shows the breadth of people he finds interesting.
It really does paint a picture of someone engaging with many different worlds. And finally, just a small detail, he tracks his attendance at Cal basketball and football games.
Yeah. Shows that connection back to his university and its sports culture still matters to him.
It's just another little piece of the puzzle. So, wrapping up this deep dive on Frank Lin.
Yeah.
Wow. It's genuinely impressive, the sheer breadth of his interests and the enthusiasm he seems to bring to everything.
I agree.
Yeah.
From the intense physical challenges of running marathons sub-3
Yeah.
to the leisurely exploration on a bike, the intellectual curiosity in his travels, his thoughts on chess, wanting to write more, it's someone really grabbing life with both hands.
Absolutely. This exploration reveals someone who's not just passively observing, but actively seeking out knowledge, experience, connection across so many different fields. It's really quite inspiring.
It really is a very multifaceted and positive way to engage with the world.
Which brings us to a final thought for you listening in. Reflecting on Frank Lin's journey, what passion or area of curiosity might you want to explore with that kind of dedication? What deep dive could be next on your horizon?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.